So something really interesting is happening in the world of software development. We're in this new era, you know? It's a time where coding and English, they aren't separate things anymore. They're merging into this one super powerful standard for engineers all over the globe. Let's dive into what that actually means for you.
Okay, I can almost hear what you're thinking right now. And it might sound a little panicked, right? Like, whoa, does this mean I can't even code without English anymore? Look, that's a totally real feeling, a major anxiety for so many awesome developers out there. So, is it true? Let's break it down.
All right, to really get a handle on where we are today, we've got to jump in a time machine. Let's go back, way back. Back to a time before YouTube tutorials were a thing, before you could just Google any problem. An era when learning the code was a completely different beast, and honestly, a whole lot tougher.
Just picture this for a second. You've got these senior engineers, right? Absolute masters of languages like Cobol. And they're looking at the up-and-coming developers and asking this genuine, almost surprising question. How do you even learn Java? I mean, today, that sounds like such a simple question, but back then, it was a massive wall to climb.
The only way to learn was through books. That's it. And let me tell you, if you were learning in a place like Japan, a lot of the translated tech books were, well, they were brutal. Super dense, hard to get through. Instead of making you feel smarter, they just kind of chipped away at your confidence, one grueling page at a time.
So, what was the move for the really serious engineers? Well, you'd see them carrying around these massive, thick O'Reilly books in English. You know the ones with the animals on the cover? Just having one of those sitting on your desk, that was a statement. It screamed, I am a serious developer. It was absolutely a status symbol. But here's the secret, right? The reality behind that status symbol. Most of the engineers who tried to learn that way, they just gave up. I mean, think about it. You're trying to learn a brand new programming language and a foreign language at the same time. It was just too much. They got totally crushed by the complexity of it all. So yeah, that whole method clearly wasn't cutting it. And this is where things get interesting. We hit this major turning point where the entire community had to face this language barrier head on. And the solution they came up with, well, it was super simple and at the same time incredibly scary.
So what do? I mean, really, what's the move when the books in your own language aren't good enough and the ones in English feel impossible to get through? What was the actual boots-on-the-ground solution? The answer was so simple and yet so hard. Just learn in English. That's it. Stop fighting it. Stop trying to find the perfect translated book or some kind of workaround. The only real path forward was to go straight to the source.
And that right there, that's the breakthrough moment. It's this huge mental shift. And hey, if this idea is really clicking for you, if you're feeling that aha moment, this is the perfect time to hit that like button and subscribe for more. It really helps us out.
Now here's the really cool part. When you forced yourself to learn this way, you got something way more valuable than just, being fluent in English. You ended up with this super specialized, powerful tool. Honestly, it was like a secret weapon. And don't get me wrong, this was an absolute grind. Seriously, just try to imagine it. You're sitting there with this giant tech book on one side, a dictionary on the other, and you're just going line by line by line. It was unbelievably tough, but the skill that was forged in that fire, wow, it was worth so much more than anyone could have guessed. What you ended up with is something we can call system English. And no, this is not the kind of English you learn in a classroom to order a coffee or ask where the bathroom is. This is the super specific language of software development. All the jargon, the unique phrases, words like instantiate, deprecate, is synchronous. It's basically a whole language in itself. And when you think about it, choosing this path is it's the most logical thing to do. Why? Well, for starters, all the brand new cutting-edge info, it's always in English first. Your high school English teacher has no idea what a pull request is, right? So here's the bottom line. You're not just learning some random language. You are directly building a practical, incredibly valuable skill for your career. Okay, so let's fast forward to today, because that brutal dictionary in hand method, that was for a totally different time. Now we have these amazing, super efficient tools that are built on that very same idea, but they make it so much easier. Just look at the difference. It's a total evolution. We went from fighting with these thick, lonely books to learning with awesome dual language tutorials on YouTube. We've gone from slowly translating every single word by hand to just absorbing the language by listening and seeing the context. Learning now is faster, it's way more effective, and honestly, it's a lot less lonely. And hey, here's a little pro tip for you if you're going to try this new way of learning. When you're watching those tutorials, try turning off the subtitles. I know, it feels way harder at first, but it actually forces your brain to switch gears. It trains you to pick up the meaning from the context. From the code you see on screen, from how the person is talking. It's a much, much deeper way to learn.
So where does that leave us? What does all this mean for the future? Well, it's all about taking these lessons, these really hard-won lessons, and creating a whole new mindset. A mindset that can help the next generation of engineers just completely leapfrog over all the struggles we used to have.
You see, the generation that had to fight their way through those thick books, they get it. They understand the pain of hitting that English barrier. And because they went through that struggle, the goal now is totally different. It's to become a bridge, to make the path way easier and more direct for everyone coming up next.
And this new philosophy, it really boils down to 3 powerful ideas. First, stop thinking you have to learn English and then learn systems. That's the old way. Second, start learning English through the systems you actually care about. And third, aim higher. The real goal is to compete, to be a top-tier engineer on a global stage, using English as your tool.
When you really get down to it, it all comes back to this one core idea. Technology and language, they're not 2 separate boxes you need to check. When you learn them at the same time, they basically fuse together and become this incredible, powerful advantage for your entire career. So if this way of thinking helped you out, if it gave you a new perspective, doing us a favor and hitting that like button and subscribing really does help us build more of these bridges for developers all over the world. So we'll leave you with a question to think about. You now see that technology and language together are your new secret weapon, your new advantage. So knowing that, what's the very first step, no matter how small, that you're going to take tomorrow to start building that advantage for yourself?